Hey everybody, it is Colin Nitro for Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited coming at you here today with a quick vlog kind of recap, as last night we had the season finale of season 2 of Dark Side of the Ring, the Vice/Viceland series that looks at some of pro wrestling's greatest kind of darker moments and scandals and mysteries and so on and so forth. And I thought in general that season 2 was a lot stronger than season 1. More episodes to begin with, and they tackled a couple of the bigger question marks in the wrestling industry over, I guess, uh, unfortunate demises and such, with the Chris Benoit two-part season opener and a season finale, taking a look at the Owen Hart tragedy from May 23rd of 1999. I thought that both of those episodes are tied for my favorite episodes of the series, of the season, just due to the fact just being so intimately close to both stories growing up where I did. These were front page news items, obviously in Canada and obviously in Alberta. And, you know, with the Benoit one, this went on for days here in Edmonton, where people were looking into it and that stuff. With the season finale, the final days of Owen Hart airing last night, with that episode, I thought that it really kind of exemplifies the side that Martha Hart and her side of the family have been kind of pushing forward throughout, uh, the past 20 years or so. But I think it really showed them in a new light, in a different light. I don't see her as this wicked witch that's holding Owen's legacy away from everybody. And she stated on Chris Jericho's podcast, even a couple days before, that if a company like New Japan or AEW wanted to honor Owen, she'd be 110% for that. So I think that she's just, not enamored with WWE for, obvious reasons. And, nor should she. That's the thing. I really do take her side with this. It's, after watching that, it just kind of just cements it that I really do take her and her side of the family side of this entire ordeal. Unfortunately, is that, yeah, why would you want to, an organization that really didn't give a crap the night that your husband died, basically, to continue on. So, but anyway, those three 40-minute long episodes, the Benoit two-parter and the season finale, the final few days of Owen Hart, are available as well. You can purchase them on iTunes, and I think those are the best of them all. A close second, though, and this was the Fire Festival meets Boogie Nights, almost, of wrestling, as the creators Evan Husney and Jason Eisner put it on Conrad Thompson's podcast a few weeks ago when it first aired, was the Herb Abrams UWF episode. And I think a lot of people grew up, obviously knowing about the UWF, and maybe they were like me, they owned a couple of cassettes when they were a kid or something, but you didn't know the backstory of it, or you only heard urban legend about the backstory of it. And let me tell you, everything you heard about this story just being wild, 100% true. It's episode 8 in the series. It's called Cocaine and Cowboy Boots, the Herb Abrams story, and that is my personal favorite dark horse of the entire series. And you have to check it out. If just for a brief history on the UWF, you have to check it out. The other episodes in the series, the assassination of Dino Bravo was a really good one, although it really didn't bring to light any real new information on it. Last Ride of the Road Warriors, the same thing. If you purchase the WWE DVD documentary about the Road Warriors back, that I think came out about 2005, 2006 ish. It's basically a retelling of that same story, except kind of more in depth. They finally get an interview with Eddie Sharkey, which is pretty cool, and it's basically a more condensed version of that documentary. Is that episode? Another good one, just because I'm a fan of early WWF and the kind of lead up to WrestleMania and the explosion of the WWF brand right after it in the mid 80s, was the David Schultz and the Slap Heard Round the World episode, where John Stossel finally admits that, yeah, he felt terrible until he got the paycheck. So, I mean, that's the thing, is that I think that pretty much solidified a lot of people's opinion of Stossel in their minds, especially with the wrestling fans, and that's that I've talked to, at least. And the two episodes for me that were kind of meh watching were the Life and Crimes of New Jack. I think that one was kind of a weird addition to the season, but not so much the dark side of the ring as it would be kind of a standalone documentary on its own. I didn't think it really fit the motif a little bit, but that's just, me watching as an outside observer here, and that's if I thought it was actually a fairly entertaining episode. But if they had centered the focus, I think, on the mass transit incident in itself, I think it would have made for kind of a better episode. Instead, they kind of made the mass transit incident kind of a centerpiece of this whole menagerie around a character and that stuff, which I thought was fairly interesting. Again, though, it kind of suits with New Jack. You kind of want more from him, so you'd love to see these guys do maybe a 90-minute doc on him or a feature. It would be almost like doing something on like Danny Trejo or something. Just this rough and grumble dude, and why is he rough and grumble, right? The Jimmy Snuka and the Death of Nancy Argentino episode, again, kind of, it's kind of it's weird because it's a story that's kind of evolving still as we speak, and I fear that there might even be details that come out later on, even though Snuka has passed away at this point, that may further implicate him and potentially McMahon even more. I just recall this coming out the day before the Black Wednesday COVID-19 cuts, and so you think that was a bad press week for WWE. You've probably got it correct. It definitely wasn't the best press week for them, for sure. But it was very entertaining again. Not one of my personal favorites of the series, of the season, but it was, one of the best. And I think the weakest episode out of all of them was the Brawl for All episode. I think that just was another rehash of the Cornette-Russo rivalry, ultimately. And while I am a fan of Cornette's content and his podcasts and such, I just, even at this time, I'm like, man, this takes a lot. I'm like, even watching this, I'm like, man, this is just a rehash of everything. It's just one of those things where it just puts that rivalry again out there to light, basically, of the late 90s WWF and the turmoil going on behind the scenes there. You feel for Bart Gunn, for sure. It kind of showed him in a new light, which was pretty cool. And, you'd also feel for a guy like Steve Dr. Death Williams, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but a guy that, should have got the push to work with Steve Austin, make some money and get that all-time run that he was deserving of. But anyways, in total, 10 episodes. You can go over to, if you got like an iTunes account, each episode is available for $2.99 each. You can download them, check them out. If you subscribe to Crave up here in Canada, it's part of your Crave subscription on demand, so you can go check it out via that way. It's also all over the internet, so you can go search it out with whatever service in whatever country that you have or whatever, and you'll be able to check them out. So season 2 in total, I will give a solid 9 out of 10. I think these 10 episodes is going to be a ultimate binge watch for somebody on a weekend, one day or something. I know I'm looking forward to that day. That would be a lot of fun when that does happen. But anyways, I'm Kellen Nitro. Later days, happy wrestling watching, and we'll catch you next time on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. And yeah, go check this out. Dark Side of the Ring, definitely a must watch. And go check out season 1 as well, too. One day I might do a similar video for season 1 as well, even though it's a couple years in the past here, so.